السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، وأهلا وسهلا بكم مرة أخرى في معهد آلت للدراسات والحلول التعليمية. My dear students, we are going to talk about in this third video about the explicit business writing in English, and here we are going to talk about the third model. How to practice the best practices in a memo writing. We talked about an email and we talked about a letter. Now we are talking about explicit memo, and we are going to talk about how to use the best practices explained in this book, in this model. And we're gonna look at here the writer use all the techniques, the tools to help organizing and to achieve best practices in this memo. At the beginning, we know that the memo starts with date to from subject, and we call this is the memo heading. Look at the title written here, very important, slash or heaven, new city travel for. So the subject line contains a note indicating the importance of the message, and the words could be used later to retrieve the memo. So the writer used to part the importance and the topic of the memo in one subject line. The writer greet the readers by Dear Sally, Fred, May, and Lester. So the writer addresses the individuals by names rather than by team to personalize the message and to personalize the relationship. And he started with this: I know you're busy just keeping up with the field offices, but we're going to have to fill out another form. So the writer begins with a cordial opening that emphasizes with the readers that will help diminish the negative reaction to have to fill out another form. This cordial and formal opening and closing are the only informal part of the memo here. So the remainder of the memo is strictly business. This memo explains what the firm is and how to fill it out. So the writer states directly, clearly, precisely the contents of the memo so the reader knows what to do and what to expect from the beginning, early in the memo. And he said, call me after you have read this so I can answer questions you may have about it. So the writer includes a feedback loop to ensure that the reader reads and understands the memo from the beginning. And he writes, the city's taxation department is going to tax the travel agencies, so we need to report to them any travel expenses we remit to our travel agencies. So the writer includes a brief rational reason for the firm without including details unnecessary for the reader to understand the context. And he writes, you must fill out a form with expenses for each travel agency use for each trip. The writer states important information the reader must remember at the beginning: bolding, floating, middling, and indenting it to give it emphasis, focusing, concentrating, high attention. This the firm is attached the procedures, the steps for filling it out follows. So the writer begins instructions by explaining where to find the firm and that the instructions for filling it out and going to follow. That lets the reader or lets the readers know not to look at the firm as they read through the procedure, through the steps. And he started with this contact information. The name of each area is presented on a separate line bolded with a blank line before and after the area names matches the name of the firm exactly like a heading. And the explanation explicitly states under each one. Also, if you look at the travel information, he used subheadings like departure, destination, mode of travel, agency cost. So the writer decided that these fields needs explanation, so he broke them out into lists and sublists. The field name clearly identified and the explanations indented to make them easily to read, tabulated here. And the writer includes words like and articles. I meant to make the words clearly. Then he used travel information, travel agency information, paragraphing. So he begins all the area explanation consistently in a separate line in an area separated by a heading. So the writer states the fact that the reader must fill out of travel firm for each agency because it is relevant here, even though she already stated that fact early in the memo. She repeated that again. He said that's all we have to do, but we have to do it so our administration doesn't receive a phone call from City Hall. So the writer ends cordially, emphasizing the importance of the activity again. Informal ending explains the consequences without including inappropriate comments about the activity or the City Hall. And he said, call me after you have read this. The writer repeats the action the reader must complete. So the action is the feedbacks that lets the writer know the reader has read and understood the message. That's what we call it. The best practices used in the memo, and that is what I like you to do when you write a memo or write a letter or write a report